Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk to you today about Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is published, of course, by Sega and developed by Lizardcube, who also did Streets of Rage 4 and the Wonder Boy 3 remake for Sega as well. So they're kind of in the Sega ecosystem, seem to be one of those go to developers Lizardcube does for Sega to bring back some of these old titles that they promised they were going to do. I think there was some consternation about this at first. People thought the games looked kind of cheap, but we have one of them now in our hands, which is Shinobi Art of Vengeance, and I'm happy to say it's a very good game. Now, I'm a Sega fan, have been that way since the mid 80s, so we go way, way back, Sega and I. And you might be thinking, well, he loves Sega. Of course, he's going to give it a great review. But I mean, that's not necessarily the case with me. If anything, I think I'm kind of too harsh of a critic when it's something that I really care about and really look forward to. So I try to be as objective as I can. I think I'm pretty good at that, as well as one can be. So I went into this hopeful, but also really, really nervous that it wouldn't work out. But I'm happy to say that everything here is pretty good. I think there's some things that could be improved upon. But overall, this is a success as far as if you wanted to take an old franchise like Sega did and revive it, this is kind of what you would hope for from Sega's perspective and also from a fan's perspective, in my opinion. So we'll talk a little bit about it here. We start off with Joe Musashi, who has always been the protagonist. You could kind of take a little bit of an issue with that if you read all the old instruction manuals, but who cares? Joe Musashi is the main character, and we actually get to meet some other characters that know Joe, which is kind of a new thing for Shinobi. Maybe some of the newer PlayStation games or DS games featured that. I don't recall, though. I didn't play those. I played the pure Sega Shinobis, so I'm fairly familiar with those, even though it's been a long time. So Joe's village gets attacked by something called ENE Corps, which is pretty much like Neo Zeed from the old Shinobi games. They're like a corporation, but they're not really a corporation. They're basically a paramilitary group. So it's like I don't know what it is with Shinobi where maybe they're making some kind of statement about the world at large with corporations that also serve as military powers. There could be something there. I don't know if it's really that deep, but regardless, that's the antagonists in this game. A lot of different enemies. Some of the military guys, just like the bog standard army guys, quote unquote. But there are a lot of different enemy designs, and I think the enemy list is pretty fine. I don't think it's spectacular, but I do think it does a good job of having enough variety. And I also think that you have a good mix of weird, complex enemies and just like your standard guys that throw ninja stars or shoot guns. So I think they did a pretty good job with the enemy designs. The gameplay itself, we have pretty tight controls here. I had a lot of fun controlling Joe Musashi in this game. I think for the most part, the fighting and the platforming are really tight. I think you're going to be really pleased with the controls for a game like this where, I mean, it's got to be responsive. Let's face it. You have a variety of katana attacks, your standard light and heavy attacks. You've got kunai that you can throw, not ninja stars, not shurikens, but kunai. You also have ninpo and ninjutsu powers, which ninjutsu are like the old powers from, say, Revenge of Shinobi, or Shadow Dancer, where you get a meter filled up, you press a button, and everything on the screen dies, or you're granted temporary invincibility, or something like that. That's the ninjutsu powers. Those are the big ones that take a long time to charge. You also have ninpo, which are smaller gauges that fill up probably a few times a battle, and you can use those to breathe fire for a second. You can use those to throw a magic shuriken that depletes armor. There's a bunch of different ninpo powers, and they're all pretty interesting. I think some of them are way, way, way more effective than others, and I think most of the time you'll probably use the first one, the fire one that you get pretty quickly. But overall, they're fun to use and fun to experiment with. The gameplay is pretty much a Metroidvania too. You have a lot of combat mixed in with a lot of platforming, actually. Probably more platforming than is in a lot of Metroidvanias. So that should be made clear. There's a good mixture here that I don't think is exhibited in a lot of games of this type, where it does a good job of not getting you too bored with fighting or too bored or frustrated with platforming. The graphics and sound, I mean, the graphics are really, really good. They're so sharp. The art style is very, very good, very, very colorful. The only thing I didn't like about the art style was that I don't think it quite fit Shinobi. I think they could have made the color palette just a little bit dimmer or a little bit more murky. But I like it. I like the graphics. I don't know if it quite fits this series. And I mean, I know it's the same artist, but I mean, Lizardcube can use other artists too. So I think that's a valid opinion to have, that this game looks very similar to another game they made. It looks very similar to Wonder Boy as well. So I know Lizardcube got started. One of the people that started it was an artist, and I'm assuming they're doing all the artwork for these games. But a little variety wouldn't hurt. That's just a suggestion on my part. And again, the art style I just think could match the series a little bit better. But these are minor complaints. The artwork is really good. Hey guys, just want to take a brief intermission. This audio might sound a little different. I'm recording this later on. I was reviewing this audio and it occurred to me that I did not give the animation in this game nearly enough credit, which is certainly a big bump to the graphics, which are already really good. But the animation is actually the best part of the visuals, and I completely left that out here. So I just wanted to mention that the animation on Joe Musashi in particular is just incredible. It's like from some of the best anime I've ever seen. It's like on that kind of level. And the enemies and everything else is really well animated too, but especially the main character. That's one of the highlights of the game for me, is how much time and effort they put into all the frames of animation. Also, a lot of the level backgrounds are really fun and interesting. I didn't talk enough about that either in this video, so I want to amend that here. There are so many interesting backgrounds and locations. Like I said, I don't think the levels themselves are spectacularly interesting, but what is there, they make the most of. Except for the Lantern Festival level, that was kind of a downer. But the fish market and some other stuff was really, really cool. There's a lot going on in the backgrounds. There's a few bits of art in this game that I don't think were completely finished, particularly the ninjutsu artwork and animations. But other than that, the graphics are really good, highlighted by the animations and the level backgrounds, which I did not do enough justice here. The sound is also very good, much in the same ballpark. I thought the soundtrack was really respectable. I thought it hit a lot of the right notes, no pun intended, but there were never any high points either where I was like, holy crap, this is a banger, what a great soundtrack, or let me stop the game and pause and find this song so that I can add it to a playlist or something. Nothing like that. But the music is really serviceable and it's good. It's fine. Sound effects are good too. I think they're better than the music, to be quite honest with you. So everything on that front, audio visual, is good. I don't think it reaches any particular heights, but I think everything here is really nicely done. So overall, I mean, the bones of this game are very, very good and very, very promising. And I'm happy to say that the gameplay more or less delivers on that. There was a few things that annoyed me a little bit about the gameplay, but nothing major. I mean, I think the whole game is, and I'm not a big Metroidvania fan either. At first, I kind of groaned, like, oh God, like, I hate backtracking, all that stuff. But the fast travel is really good and sensible, which a lot of Metroidvanias screw up. They can't figure out fast travel. I don't know why they want you to backtrack and backtrack and backtrack. It's ridiculous. This game understands exactly how to do it right, so that's encouraging. There's save points in reasonable distances between each other. So you're going to have to fight, and a lot of times you're going to die before you get to one of those spots. But once you get to a save spot, it's in a sensible place. It's rewarding to make it there, but they're not too far away. They're not too spaced out. So I thought they did that really, really well. Unfortunately, there is a bug with the map that really, really annoyed me, because when you're trying to find things, the game is currently doing something where in the middle of your game, I think there's a trigger or two, but what will happen is your character icon won't move around the map as you run around. So every time you open the map, you have to scroll to where you actually are on the map, which you're not even sure sometimes. You have to like double check. So when you're looking for collectibles and stuff, especially, or just playing through the game, it really sucks to have to reposition and figure out again where you're at on the map. I think they'll fix that pretty soon. The game does have a couple other bugs like that where I'm like, this needs to be fixed right now. I think they're probably working on it, and I think they probably understand the urgency, because there's just a handful of things that they didn't fix or catch that I think are actually hampering the gameplay a little bit and the fun factor. So hopefully in the next handful of weeks that patch is available. I think the levels, I think they're pretty solid. I think they could be shorter just a little bit. Like I'm talking like if the levels were 80 to 90% as long, I think that would be perfect. Maybe just a personal preference thing. As far as the levels, the themes of each level I thought were pretty solid. Nothing that we really haven't seen before, especially if you've played a Shinobi game before. They kind of, I don't want to say revisit certain levels, but they certainly reuse certain level themes, but it's on purpose. It's an homage to the old games, and that's fine. And believe me, once you get in the levels, there were a few levels that I selected, and I was like, oh, that's cool. This is like going to be an homage to this level or that level. And once I got in there, the stage was very, very different. It reminded me a little bit of the old games, but this game is very much its own thing. The other way in which you see that is some of the Easter eggs and cameos. I haven't found a lot of them, but I found a handful. I found enough to make me want to look for more. There might not be much more than I already found, but I'm interested in looking. That's the other thing that's great about this game is I am not a person that usually 100% games. I usually can't be bothered. I'd rather just play a new game. But in Shinobi, I'm really looking forward to backtracking and going and finding all the items that I missed and accessing the areas that I couldn't access before. They also make it really easy to replay the game in that fashion because there's an easy percentage for each level to let you know what percentage of stuff you've found in each level. And then there's a menu that shows you clearly all the things that you still need to look for and haven't found yet. The map will also assist you a little bit just because there are shaded areas that you know have things that you didn't find yet or didn't explore yet. Obviously, you know how to read a map, but it's color-coded as well, is the point. So yeah, replay value I think is solid, even though it's like an action platformer, which you don't see that as much in terms of replay value in those genres. Interestingly, the game also has a couple bonus levels in between the proper stages, which that's a throwback too. I mean, how often do you see bonus levels like in the old Shinobi games where you'd throw the shurikens and try to hit the little ninjas, or you'd fall from the sky and have to throw ninja stars at ninjas as they fell down a canyon with you. There was all kinds of cool bonus stages in the old Shinobi games. So I'm glad they did a couple of them here. I think they could have done a little bit more, actually, in a DLC maybe even too. But I wouldn't have minded a bonus level after every couple of proper levels. So I think they could do even more, assuming they're doing another Shinobi game, which after the reception for this game, I would assume they are. And just in general, I like bonus levels. I wish more games would bring them back. I mean, there's probably a ton of developer ideas that they either didn't get a chance to flesh out in a proper stage, or maybe it wasn't a big enough idea. Put it in a bonus stage. I think that's a good idea that we need to get back to. But regardless, this game is a banger. It's a success for Sega and Lizardcube. And if you're a Shinobi fan or a Sega fan in general, I think you should play this. I think you'll enjoy it. Any retro fans that just love side-scrollers and platformers should play it immediately. The Digital Deluxe Edition, just a fair warning, if you pay extra for that, the big piece of that DLC is not coming out till next year. It's a bonus level with a bunch of Sega references and fan service, I think. That's not coming out till next year. So just so you know, you're not going to be able to play the DLC for like 6+ months. I was a little annoyed when I read that, but it's kind of my fault for not reading closely enough. Overall, though, the game itself is really good. I'm really happy with how it came out. and I don't have any major complaints, which is all you can really ask for. So if you guys haven't played it, shoot me a note. I can answer any questions about it if you're just curious and want to hear from me. Or if you've played it, I want to hear what you think about it, because I don't think there was much to complain about here. You guys tell me, though. I'm really happy with Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Hope you guys are too, and I'll talk to you next time. See you later.